Well, it's about time for my daily fountain labs. I really hope they bring back the Sage's Greaves this year. Oh, they did? Awesome. You think it's weird that I'm practicing how to run like I'm following someone? Yeah, well, don't come crawling to me when you get a sprain. So, 3 new relics just got shown, and they look pretty big. They're gonna really synergize with some of the different regions that are being picked. I'll talk about them more broadly in a minute, like I kind of think I might know what tier they're gonna be in, but first, let's go over the individual ones and set like a baseline of, what they even do to begin with. So first up, we have Friendly Forager. Whenever you pick this relic, you get the Forager's Pouch. What is the Forager's Pouch? Well, the Forager's Pouch works just like an herb sack and shares an inventory with it. I assume that means that you don't want an herb sack then? Like, I think this is saying that you can't use it in combination with it, or maybe it's saying that you can actually use it in combination with it and you can hold twice as many. I'm not completely sure. I would assume it's worse than better, though. Like, don't set up yourself to get disappointed. Okay, so how is this being used? What does this even mean? Well, whenever you gather resources from woodcutting, fishing, mining, and hunting, the Forager's Pouch will find and store a random grimy herb limited to herbs your herblore level plus 25 can clean, while also providing a small amount of token XP when one is found. So right from the very start, since you start at level 3, you can get Guam Leaf, Marentil, Terramin, Harlander, and Ranar Weeds. You are probably going to want to pay more attention to your collection, so you can go ahead and get up to level 15 Herblore, which is whenever you'll be able to start getting an Erit Leaf. You can get an agility potion from Dr. Jekyll by giving him an Erit. The Forager's Pouch will only find herbs it has room to store, but will attempt to give you an herb you can receive. I think this is in reference to the way the herb sack actually functions in game, which is that it allows the player to store up to 30 of each of the grimy standard herbs, for a total of 450. And if we look at the Discord frequently asked questions, you can force certain herbs by keeping the pouch filled with others. So whenever you go back to the bank, you can go ahead and empty the whole thing, and then you can just withdraw some grimy herbs and put it right back in the herb sack. It also apparently has a one-click withdraw all herbs as notes, so I don't know how that's gonna function. That's pretty interesting. Like if that feeds into the filtering and juggling. I originally thought this was gonna be really good way to like exponentially AFK, especially because this works with things that aren't your tier 1. So if you pick the woodcutting one while you're fishing, you're still getting a bunch of other stuff. But it looks like there's a lot of room for you to just like get a ton of stuff from this. Like you might actually have to manage this a little bit. On the Discord, they say herbs are always received while gathering on a 9-tick cooldown. That is so fast. That's like 5.4 seconds. Now you may have thought that that's a lot, but wait, there's more. Additionally, whenever you make potions, secondary ingredients have a 90% chance to not be consumed. This stacks additively with other sources. So 1 out of every 10 potions you make is actually going to use a secondary, which means you only need like 3 secondaries per inventory. And on top of that, you're not going to need to make as many potions because created potions contain 4 doses instead of 3, which means every 3 potions, you're essentially getting a freebie on the next one. Or every 4 you make, you get a 5th? Yeah, I don't know. Let's go to the next one. The next relic is the Corner Cutter. Upon choosing this relic, you will receive the Sage's Greaves. Hey, I remember these from Trickster. While equipped, Sage's Greaves will grant agility XP based on your agility level while you run, which means people are going to be following each other in circles around the fountain in Lumbridge again, and I am a big fan of that. I really feel like it brought the community together. And then for all you lappers out there, or if you hate friendship, completing an agility course grants 2 completion count and a 25% XP bonus, which early on, probably going to be kind of big getting those counts up. And that also stacks really nicely into the next 2 things. Marks of Grace also spawn with 10k coins if you get this early. Huge. And you get double quantity of Pyramid Tops, Hallowed Marks, Brimhaven vouchers, and crystal shards. I'm pretty sure pyramid tops are literally just money, so if you own a money making thing, that might be good. Sepulcher does have a little like reward crate thing, but it's not anything crazy. A lot of the upgrades though that you're gonna get are just to feed back into Sepulcher itself and make it better to do. So if you already like Sepulcher, look at doing that. The Brimhaven vouchers could be kind of big, especially if you want to end up getting the Elite Diary done, because it gives a 10% chance to get 2 tickets So it would be 4 because of this. Also, I think last time there was a task to get like 101 game or something. That one was fairly straightforward. Now let's get to the most complicated one by far. Dodgy Deals. No special item with this one. I'm not giving you anything, you thief. But I might passively give you the benefits of things like pickpocketing an NPC will also pickpocket all NPCs of a similar type in an 11 by 11 square, granting extra loot for each NPC pickpocketed. That is really big. On Discord, though, they did clarify things a little bit. Multi-NPC thieving is a loot multiplier only, items and gold, no additional XP or pet rolls. And then here's a crazy example I never would have guessed from the wording. If you were to roll a blood shard from a Vire, and there's 5 of them in the area, you receive 5 blood shards. So everybody start scouting all the crazy stuff. Tazar, elves, Vires. What kind of loot stack are we gonna get? How many of them can be in one area at once, I wonder? I can already hear you. Oh, but those are hard. How am I gonna pickpocket elves? Don't you know the failure rate? Well, guess what, buddy? I got you covered. You have 100% success rate on all thieving checks. So that should be people, that should be chests, that should be stalls, that should be everything. And you can automatically re-pickpocket an NPC or stall until you're no longer able to do so. A stall? Really? Yeah, stalls don't deplete when you steal from them now, which is really cool. There's a lot of awesome spots that you're going to be able to go to, and you might want to rush getting your thieving up if you take this and get to some of those really hard stalls before anyone who doesn't have this relic gets it, because this message from Discord says, if someone without Dodgy Deals thieves a stall, it resets for everyone. And stalls do not benefit from the 3-time respawn quality of life thing that they showed off. So you better be on the lookout for any of those corner cutters trying to sneak up on your stalls. Now, I don't think stalls give noted items, but items obtained from pickpocketing are noted, and the maximum coin pouch count is increased 3 times. Now, what I think is really fun about this relic is just the different kind of stalls that exist in the game. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of really cool loot tables on the NPCs, but right off the bat, everyone's going to have access to Karamja, so you're going to be able to go to a gem stall and an ore stall, and you're going to be able to get a ton of smithing and crafting XP banked. And by right off the bat, I of course mean whenever you get a very high thieving level, but I just mean everyone's going to be able to get it. And by everyone, I mean everyone that picked Dodgy Deals. Come on, man. Why are you being like that? You know what I mean. There are also some really fun interactions you can do with this. One that I thought of just off the top of my head. If you're picking Varlamore, you might want to go to Draenor and grab a ton of wine from the wine stall. That's going to go super nice with your prayer training. Also, Fremnik, Taranwin, Kandarin, and Karend have a silver stall, which would not be bad for getting some other skills up. Now, looking at all 3 of these, I'm sure some cogs have already been turning in your head, but I want to go ahead and say what I think these are going to fit in. I think that the agility one can be good depending on your region. It's maybe a little more niche. I think the strongest it's going to be is if you really want to rush the early game. There's a lot of things you can take advantage of. Obviously, getting more XP is great, but you get a bunch of gold and your completion count goes up, which some of those are tasks, so being able to knock those out right off the bat would be really, really good. If you don't have any farming patches, if you don't have a lot of supplies that you're able to grab, Friendly Forager might be what you want. You're gonna get so many supplies from using this. It literally combos with every single tier 1 relic. And on top of that, you also have to use dramatically less supplies whenever you're actually doing Herblore. 90% chance to save, create 4 doses instead of 3. That is really, really big, especially when you want to do things that aren't Herblore. Now you can spend less time doing that. And then Dodgy Deals, I think, has the potential to be the craziest. That all really depends on what region you're picking and what sort of voids you actually need to fill. Now, you're obviously going to be making money with this early, but is it going to be substantial? And do you have the ability to keep upgrading to NPCs that give more and more money? I don't know. Like, if you only have Mistalin that you're running around pickpocketing, you're probably going to make more money doing agility. And getting extra supplies for crafting and smithing is great, but if you're taking Power Miner, you really probably don't need to worry about that at all. Not that it's bad for any of those things, it's just not quite as strong as if, like, you didn't have the setup for that already. But the places I think it's probably going to be the strongest is going to be Mauritania for the Vires, or Turon win for the elves. And now we're at the fun part of the video where I get to speculate on everything. And what I think from looking at these, a lot of them seem to have a focus around the early game. I mean, a lot of these overlap with the tier 1 relics from Trailblazer Reloaded. Things like Trickster getting the boots or being able to keep pickpocketing people. And because of that, I think this is probably going to be a tier 2. I think at 500 points, you're going to go ahead and unlock this. So things like getting your very first agility labs, that's probably not going to be what you do with these. You're probably not going to have to fight people in Varrock over the level 5 T-stalls because again, you're probably already a little bit past that point. The low level tasks are like 10 points each, so you'd have to do 50 of them. So you're probably trying to do some easy things like run some laps or steal some tea. But some of these do have the potential to really scale later into the game. I mean, I made it sound like the agility one was really good only early, but it's probably going to take you a while to get some good combat boots. So wearing boots that give you free agility XP all the time, everywhere, that is going to add up, especially after playing for days and days and days. I know some of you out there wore those things until the very end of the league and just had crazy agility XP. So that's always really good. I don't mean to downplay the value of that. Yeah, I did originally think tier 2 was going to be the teleports and then this would be after, but I'm kind of leaning away from that. But honestly, this is all really hard to figure out. Like 2, 3, and 4, I could see being flipped around in any sort of way because a lot of them just seem like they're going to be really strong in the very beginning. There's a lot of relics that it seems like, not that they won't be good late, but it seems like a lot of the potential for them is to get them snowballing right off the bat. Like last year, teleports being tier 2, I feel like that's pretty straightforward. You kind of want teleports as soon as you can. But utility would be really good right off the bat too. And total recall and banker's note, where is that gonna go? Last year, that was a tier 3. So kind of up in the air, but enough about that. We'll figure that out very shortly. But I think it would be top tier of you to subscribe to the channel because I'm posting leagues content daily where everyone in the comments can go and discuss what regions are these popping off in. I think the most exciting one for me to look at is Dodgy Deals in Mauritania on Vires. Being able to get 5 of them if there's 5 in the area, that is insane. And I want to just see people have inventories full of blood shards. So if you guys have some wacky plans for some of these, some combos I haven't thought of, I'd love to hear them in the comments below. And until the next one, take care. Goodbye.